So sometimes part of being a woodworker is being able to fix your mistakes. And a lot of times things don't work out exactly the way you expect them to, but it would be incredibly wasteful to destroy the part that didn't work out for you, especially if you can figure out a way to fix it. So let me show you what I'm dealing with currently. What I'm looking at here is a piece to the storage bench that I'm making. I had a hard time finding the dado location for this particular supporting bracket here, and so I ended up cutting it too wide. I've already inserted one of these one of these strips that I'm using to fix the problem, and now I have this other strip that I have cut down to the right width. What I plan on doing is putting a small bead of glue on the inner corner of the dado, laying this piece in, and then actually using the corresponding piece to clamp it all down into place. So let's do that right now. Now I will add a couple clamps for good measure. Okay, so this is the part where I start narrating. As you can see, I'm just clamping down that thin strip, the filler strip, whatever you want to call it. Trying to get it as tight as I can in there, so afterwards when I plane it and sand it, it won't show. It shouldn't look like anything separate from the piece that it's attached to. So I remove the clamps. Take out my flush cut saw, and I'm cutting off the excess here. And when I cut those strips, I did cut them a little bit higher, a little bit proud, so I could plane them down and get them perfectly flush to the surface of the rest of the board. So here's just a little close-up shot. As you can see, it's pretty good. You'd have to really scrutinize it. And one of those is going to be underneath the bracket, so it's never going to be seen anyway. So the stain should help blend it all in. So here I am gluing the bracket into the back piece. Lots of glue. I really have had an interesting experience with this Gorilla brand wood glue. I wanted to try it out because it's a little bit whiter than the other glue. The other glues like Titebond. Titebond is more yellow, and I like the white glue because it dries clear. I don't know what the Europeans use, or if I can even get the type of white glue that the Europeans use. But this was pretty white. But I know part of it has to do with the pressure of my clamps, but as you see this, the glue actually does expand a little bit. And so you'll see as I'm cleaning it up, I have to keep coming back and cleaning again and cleaning again. And I don't think I can attribute that all to just the pressure of the clamps. So here it is later in the day. I've taken the clamps off. And now I'm preparing the legs of what will end up being the legs of this bench. So I'm just cutting the taper into the legs. There's 8 tapers, because each leg consists of 2 parts that go together and form kind of an L shape. And then on 2 of those pieces, I have to cut away a bit of the tenon. Just trying to get things situated here. I should have used a chisel on this, but for some reason I decided to use my Japanese saw, and you'll see me split off the piece, which isn't the end of the world. And you'll see me test fit it there with the stopped dado that I made on the arm piece. So it's glue up time. I'm starting to glue up the panels. So these are the 2 side panels here, and I'm just cleaning it up a little bit so everything will fit perfect. And I glue it up and I clamp it. Next comes the front panel, and I'm just doing a quick test fit here to make sure everything fits the way I expect it to. I probably test fitted everything 100 times over during this project, just because there's just so many calculations and there's so much math involved. It's real easy to make mistakes, and I did make some mistakes, and luckily those mistakes were made apparent when I test fitted. And so it really kind of goes to show that test fitting, and you can never dry fit things too much. So this is the glue up of the front panel. I think my camera died there, so I go ahead and now I'm moving on to the glue up of the rear panel. There's that back piece with the bracket attached to it. I'm not doing anything too innovative here. If you've seen a glue up of a rail and style and panel type glue up, you've seen them all. Just a glue, clamps, and set it aside, let it dry. And now is everybody's fun part. We get to sand all the joints. Try to make everything flat. For the most part, all the joints were pretty good, but of course there's going to be tiny bits of error, and it may accumulate, and so what I have to do is get all those joints to sit flush with each other, and not be noticeable by the touch. So I'm just kind of blasting through this footage. You see me focusing mainly on where 2 pieces of wood meet each other. A lot of time was spent sanding. One benefit of dry fitting is that you can find out pretty quickly whether or not your tenons fit your dados good. And on a couple of my pieces, the tenons were just a a tiny hair too long. So I had to sand them down. Here's the final dry fit that I did right before I glued the whole box together. I'm just taking note of the gaps and where I need to apply the pressure with my clamps. And this is the time where I finally got to glue it all together. I decided to use a brush this time to spread my glue just to make sure all the surfaces get coated and I won't have any gaps or voids that would cause a weak spot. I want this to be as strong as it possibly can be without using fasteners. So in my next video I'm going to cover some of the detail work that I do in preparation for finishing, and if I have enough footage by then I will also cover the finishing process. And then just a couple more steps and I'll be done with this bench. I'm pretty excited to get it done. I appreciate y'all watching this. There it is, all clamped up and drying. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like, share, and comment. I'll see you guys soon.